So recently, I just became a gun owner, and that'll change your perspective on a lot of things, self-defense in particular. So before that, I was very involved in martial arts content, martial arts community, becoming a better fighter, and all that stuff. When it comes to self-defense, that versus owning a gun, I know the first thing I'm going to do in a self-defense situation. My biggest critique with the martial arts world is I think people become a little too deep into it and they don't really take into account how other people think. Like everyone isn't going to play by martial arts rules. Everyone isn't going to fight with honor. There's people with weapons and people who will do anything they can to take you down. That's why I encourage people to get armed because there's too much unpredictability in just using your hands and thinking that running is going to save your life. Now, this doesn't mean don't run or don't learn how to use your hands, but using a gun should be the number one option because it's going to eliminate the threat as fast as possible. And once the threat's eliminated, then you're safe. You know you're safe because there's no threat. A lot of martial artists, people in the martial arts community, they don't like hearing that because that makes them think that you're just using a gun for everything. But no, there's a time when you use a gun, time you gotta use your hands, and there's times where you're gonna have to run. And that's what this video is about. So yeah, number one, using a gun. You gotta get armed. You just have to. If you care about your survival, using your gun is the best way that you can survive and make sure that people around you, yourself, are safe. Now, what scenarios would be best for using a gun? So let's say you're in a certain neighborhood and you know that people are armed. It's best if you are armed as well. So if you're walking down and someone looks like a threat, like they're going to come harm you, if you have a gun, you're going to be way safer than trying to fight that person or run. Because here's the thing, you can try to run, but if they want to get you specifically, they're probably going to chase after you and they might even just shoot you. And like I said, you as a civilian just wanting to defend yourself, shooting someone in the back, that will take you to jail and you will care about that. But them, they're not going to care about that. So that's why it's best if you're armed for if a certain scenario like that happens, you can eliminate that threat. And let's say if you're in your house, someone breaks in, you hear a bump in the night, you gotta see what it is. Are you realistically just going to stay under your bed or try to go fight that person? No, you're going to use a gun. The time when you don't use a gun would be is just too much risk. So let's say you're out in public and there's a lot of people around. So let's say someone's coming to attack you or someone just in the area. If you use that gun and try to shoot that person, bullet's going to go through them or you can miss and it hit somebody else. And now you're going to jail for that. And that just isn't worth it. That's where I would say that you run. I'm going to get that onto that when I talk about running. So the next point would be fighting. Fighting is for fighting scenarios. So say you're unarmed and there's too much risk, so you have to use your hands and there's no running. So let's say you're out somewhere and someone who's visibly is unarmed tries to fight you. If you can fight, just take care of that. And if you can't fight, then it's best if you get some lessons, become a better striker, grappler, so you can deal with situations like that. One place where I will give martial arts more credit is that the situational awareness is better. It's not as reactionary. It's more calculated because you're learning about people. You know, fighting isn't just combat; it's people as well. Versus a lot of Second Amendment advocates, a lot of it's just reactionary. Like if something happens, I'm going to pull my gun out and start shooting, and it's just too more. It's too emotional. Then again, there's that unpredictability factor. It's not like someone's going to stand there and wait for you to do your 5 moves of doom and then the threat's eliminated. Like, you need to be extremely effective if you want to be able to defend your life just with your hands. And I'm sure the most effective way to defend yourself just with your own body is getting somebody on the ground and subduing them that way. Because again, it's survival, eliminating the threat, not winning a fight as if you're in an octagon or a ring. So if you know how to take someone down, put someone in a hold, that will be the best option for eliminating the threat with your hands. So now let's go into the running. Now running isn't the last resort, but again, it's the most reasonable. So let's say you're in a public area, like I was talking about before, the best chance for you to survive and ensure your survival is just by getting out of there, because it's just not worth it. So let's say you're in the mall and you hear gunshots, run out the mall. Now, a very bad case for running can be, let's say you're right outside your house or in your neighborhood. If that person is targeting you, they're going to follow you, and you start running to your home. Now they know where you live, so they can just come in your house. Let's say you're unarmed. I'm sure you can guess what that might lead to. The running can only work if there's an exit. So if you're somewhere unfamiliar and you're trying to run, figure out different blocks you can run onto, that can be an exit. But if they're following you and they're more familiar with that area, that doesn't guarantee your safety. You have to make sure that if you're running, that you can actually get to somewhere safe, versus if you're just running around in unfamiliar places, then you don't even know where you are. And when you try to make your way back to somewhere, I don't know, where your car is or some kind of building, you have to make sure that that person isn't lurking around, because they could be. Now, I say this, I don't want people to think that I'm saying running is a bad option. I'm just saying that you still have other things to think about, because people will follow you if they want you, and they will lurk around the places, and just everywhere just isn't safe to run to. Or another scenario why I say it's best to run is if you're outnumbered. Because the reality is, it's not a Bruce Lee movie, it's not a John Wick movie. You can't shoot a whole bunch of people when you're outnumbered. You can't beat up a whole bunch of people when you're outnumbered 10-1. That just doesn't work. That doesn't happen in real life. You just run away. And a group of people is way less likely to follow you from a long distance versus someone that you can't see because they're covered up. So yeah, if you're outnumbered, always run. It's not worth it no matter what. So that's really just all the differences I wanted to explain when it comes to using gun versus fighting and running. But at the end of the day, you still should be armed. You still should be getting your concealed carry if you're in an unconstitutional state. And this isn't legal advice, so I'm just saying if you care about survival, that's what you want to do. But yeah, you need to arm yourself if you want to be as safe as you can possibly be to eliminate threats. Survival has to be on your mind. Not looking like a cool brawler, not being a gunslinger, not being a coward who runs away no matter what. Survival. Am I safe? Is the threat eliminated? So if people really do end up seeing this video, I just hope people think about all these perspectives, all these scenarios, instead of just being somebody who only wants to fight no matter what, or someone who just wants to be reactionary and use their gun no matter what. Like, you need to be focused on survival and what's the most practical. That's all I got for this video. Hope you all are being safe, because you are a survivor.